Shalom, shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless you all. Another edition of Daily Bread. Wait for a couple people to get on. We'll start the class. Can we blow up the comments? There we go. How's the volume, Israel? Volume good, volume good. New moon daily bread. All praises. Give a little more time, then we get started. As you can see, the class is going to be in order is the way of a professional. New moon edition. See only? Tanisha, you can only see, or can you hear? Sound is low. Is that better? Is that better? Mm-hmm. All right, all praise to the Most High. All right, all praises. Happy new moon, Israel. Happy new moon. We're going to be getting started here. Again, today's class To be in order is the way of a professional. For those of you that do not know me, I am Officer Yari. And to my left, the reader is going to be
Officer Mattathias.
And I tell you what, Israel, we had a ball last night. And for those that don't know, we in the West Coast. It's 5 a.m. around here. We got security on deck that never left the school because it wouldn't have been no point for them to leave and come back. Because we go all night long. Yeah, all praises, all praises. Hope you all had a great new moon. Celebrated it well. And speaking of that, we're going to go ahead and go into the class. Because a lot of times we go to celebrate and, that's the reasoning for always, leadership always goes over scriptures and always go over what the new moon is or go over why we come just to make sure we remember what we're doing it for, what we are celebrating and what we're doing it for. So I wanted to make sure that we do understand. That's a lot. Want to make sure that, we're always constantly thinking about what we're celebrating and, understanding what the Most High wants of us, right? How he has us celebrate this every month. We're always celebrating it when the moon is full. Certain timing. So let's get into the class. All right. I want to start at Psalms 37. Let's start there.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord.
First thing we read, it says, the steps of a good man, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. I want us to understand that. So when you're a good man, when you're keeping the laws, when you're doing the will of God, it says your steps are ordered by the Lord. Because we have to understand that the Most High God does everything in order. Everything. Let's see what Job understood on that thing. Go to Job 13, verse 17. Watch this.
This is the book of Job, chapter 13 and verse 17. Hear diligently my speech.
So Job is saying, hey, listen to what I got to say. Listen diligently to what I'm about to bring out. Read.
And my declaration with your ears. Behold, now I have ordered my cause. I know that I shall be justified.
You see that? He understood that he needs to be in order to be justified by God. He said, I ordered my cause, and from that, he knows he'll be justified. All the men, all our forefathers, all the righteous men understood that God does everything in order. Guess what? With that understanding, we must understand that that's how we should be looking to live our lives. Every moment, every second of our lives, we should always have an order, some sort of order to what we do. That's the way God has set it all up. Likewise, that's the way he made us and set us up to always have structure in that order, right? Watch this. Go to First Chronicles. First Chronicles, we're going to go to chapter 16. We're going to read verse 15.
This is the book of First Chronicles, chapter 16 and verse 15. Be ye mindful always of his covenant.
Now, look, it says, be mindful always of God's covenant. What? Of his promise, of what he has set forth for us. Always be mindful of that. Read.
The word which he commanded to 1,000 generations.
The word that he commanded to 1,000 generations. We always must be mindful of this. We have to be mindful of what he wants of us, how he set things up, how he made us to be. You got to think about it. Because the Israelite man is out of order, everything else is out of order. We're going to get into that. I'm talking about from the trees to the beast of the field to the fowls of the air. Because the Israelite man is out of order, everything else is out of order. Watch. Go to 2 Samuel. So it says, be mindful of the covenant. Now, this was David talking. When was he talking? It was right after he had gave some sacrifice and at a time of a festivity. Now, watch this. That was First Chronicles. Now, let's go to 2 Samuel. Let's hear something else David said. Let's go to David's last words. 2 Samuel 23. We're going to read verse 1.
This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 23 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now these be the last words of David.
You see that? It says, these be the last words of David. Read.
David, the son of Jesse, said, and the man who was raised up on high, the anointed of God, of the God of Jacob, and the sweet psalmist of Israel said.
Notice what it says. It said the sweet psalmist, because he always had songs. He always had psalms. All right. He used to deliver them to Asaph, the musician. All right. It says these are his last words. We're just going to jump up to verse 5. Go to verse 5. Let's see.
It's the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 23 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
Although my house be not so with God, yet hath he made with me an everlasting covenant.
So another thing David understood, that he made with him an everlasting covenant. Read.
Ordered in all things.
Notice what he said. He said, ordered in all things. Everything. Everything that we should be purposely trying to set forth that order in our lives. We need to build our spirits to the point of always having that order. Always being mindful of God's covenant that he made. Therefore, it's going to keep us having order within ourselves, within our lives. Even when you think about celebrating the new moon, it's all order to it, and we're going to touch on that. Read it again. Start at although.
Although my house be not so with God, yet hath he made with me an everlasting covenant.
Uh-huh.
Ordered in all things, and sure, for this is all my salvation and all my desire.
Notice what he said. He said, for sure, this is all my salvation. And guess what else? This is all my desire. This is what we should desire. We must understand that our salvation depends on. This is my salvation. And guess what? It's also my desire. Read.
Although he make it not to grow.
Right. So you have to understand, even when David knew that he was on the bad side of God, he understood what his salvation depended on. He understood how God orders all things. And he said he desired that thing. We have to understand, we want to grow our spirits to this point. Watch this. I'm going to show you something. From there, let's go into some things that he ordered, especially since how it's new moon. Let's see. Go to Genesis 1. We're going to start at verse 13.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And the evening.
Oh, actually 14. Go to 14. We don't need the third day. Go ahead.
And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
So God said he wants lights in the firmament of heaven. And he said, let these lights be for days, for years, for seasons, and signs. There's a purpose. There's a reason for what he's doing. You ever heard in the world that saying, everything has its place? Everything has its place. And what? There's a place for everything. Time and place for everything. Everything has its place, and there's a place for everything. Something like, I know there's a back end to it. But understand, that's the same thing. Everything God does, there's a reason and a purpose. He set things up totally perfect and in order. This is how we must grow our spirits and live our lives. There's no way to take over earth without having order and structure. And guess what? Having that in perfection. Doing it to the point that it becomes second nature. Or how about this? It becomes first nature. That's why everything, when you go into this Bible, is so repetitive. Repetition. Every month we come and celebrate and serve the Lord for the new moon. Every year we celebrate the same feast days. And we do it in specific time, as the Bible just said, in their seasons. Because there's an order to it to get us to get to that perfection that's needed. All right? Watch this. Keep reading.
Verse 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so.
Read on.
And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
Now it said he made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. It says he also made the stars. He made the stars also. Let's get a quick precept just to confirm what those two lights were that he made to rule the day and rule the night. Go to Psalms 136. We're going to come right back here. Let's get Psalms 136, read verse 7.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 136 and verse 7. To him that made great lights, for his mercy endureth forever.
So it said, to him that made great lights, his mercy endureth forever. Let's see those great lights. Read.
The sun to rule by day.
The sun was that great light to rule by day. Read.
For his mercy endureth forever. The moon and the stars to rule by night.
And you see, remember in Genesis, it told us that he also made the stars. So the moon was the other great light to rule the night, along with the stars. Finish that up. Is that it?
For his mercy endureth forever.
It says his mercy endureth forever. Everything he does is made for purpose, order, and structure. Likewise, we need to carry that into ourselves. That's what this is about. When we come to serve, again, understand, yes, God told us to. Yes, it's for a new month. It's a sign that says a new month. But I want you to understand exactly what that entails. We're celebrating the Creator and how he makes things in its perfection. And he puts it up there for us to see so that we can understand that's what is needed of us. I want you to understand that. From there, go back to Genesis 1. Read 16 one more time.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 16.
Actually, just read 17. We can go on.
Verse 17. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven.
So God set those two great lights, the sun and the moon and the stars, in the firmament of heaven. Read.
To give light upon the earth.
Okay, read on.
And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good.
And he's seen that it was set in order. Perfect. Read on.
And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
It said the evening and the morning, that's what happened on the fourth day. All right. The evening, then the morning was the fourth day. That's what happened on the fourth day. Now, this is just some things. Let's go into some more things that, remember, David said he set order in all things, obviously, including ourselves. So let's go to Psalms 104. Let's start from the top. We're going to read this a little quick, and then we'll slow down on some parts that we're going to touch on. Psalms 104.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 104 and verse 1. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord, my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who covers thyself with light as with a garment, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain,
Mm-hmm.
who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariots, who walketh upon the wings of the wind,
All these things the Most High does, right? Read on.
who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers a flaming fire,
Mm-hmm.
who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. Thou coverest it with the deep as with a garment. The water stood above the mountains.
Now, it's a lot in this chapter. We're going to touch on some of the things that he's made, but you can go back through this chapter and see a lot in it. But read verse 5 one more time.
Verse 5, who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever.
So it says he laid the foundations of the earth so that it will not be removed forever. Forever. All right. Now watch, read on. Let's see what all that entails. Read.
Thou coverest it with the deep as with a garment.
Mm-hmm.
The waters stood above the mountains.
So he got it to the point to where the water, it said, it stood above the mountains. Read on.
At thy rebuke, they fled.
Said, at thy rebuke, they fled. When he tells them to do something, then they'll go. Read.
At the voice of thy thunder, they hasted away.
Mm-hmm.
They go up by the mountains. They go down by the valleys unto the place which thou hast founded for them.
You see that? Into the place that he found it for them. He got them running in his course that he made them to run in. Read.
Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over.
So you got to think about that. It said he set a bound that they might not pass over. That's why you don't have the ocean moving past where the ocean is. The seas moving past where the seas are. Going all the way down to the rivers and streams and lakes. All right? Now, we're not talking about the man-made lakes. We're talking about things that God has created. The springs of the earth. He set bounds to where that's where they run. Now, because of man, we didn't mess that all up. Now, things is running chaotically. All right? Read.
Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth.
Mm-hmm.
He sendeth the springs into the valleys, which run among the hills.
Now, here we go. Now we're talking about that. Read on.
They give drink to every beast of the field.
You see that? That's the purpose. That's the purpose that the springs in the valley, or what we call the rivers. That's the purpose. They flow in a certain area to do what? It said to feed the beast. Read on. One of the purposes. Read.
They give drink to every beast of the field.
Mm-hmm.
The wild asses quench their thirst. By them shall the fowls of the heaven have their habitation, which sing among the branches.
You see that? Even for the fowls. Read on.
He watereth the hills from his chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works.
And that verse alone is heavy. It say he watered the fields from his chambers. And the earth is satisfied. That's crazy because we don't want to be satisfied with nothing. No matter what the Most High do, we can't be satisfied. But yet the earth knows how to be satisfied for what the Most High made it and produced for it. You see that? This is how we have to bring our spirits to and understand this. These are the things that we are celebrating. How he works his perfection. Read on.
He causes the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man.
See that? He said he causes grass to grow for the cattle, herb for service of man for what?
That he may bring forth food out of the earth.
Herb for the food for man. Not to alter your mind, not to change your mind state, but for food. Okay? All right, read on.
And wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. The trees of the Lord are full of sap, the cedars of Lebanon, which he hath planted.
You see that? Everything has a purpose. It's all created for a purpose so that everything could work accordingly together. Likewise, us, brothers and sisters. You have to understand that. We're supposed to be one mind, one body, one spirit, right? So we're supposed to work accordingly all together. I'm going to say that again. Together. This is how the Most High made us to be. That's why you have chapters like Romans 12 and 1 Corinthians 12 to get us to understand, Ephesians 4 even, to get us to understand this thing. We have to bring our spirit to, we have to build ourselves to this. Read on.
Verse 17, where the birds make their nests, as for the stork, the fir trees are her house.
I mean, it gets all the way down to specific birds have specific trees. These are for this. This is for that. This is how he made it. It's so easy. All we got to do is do what God say, and everything's going to work right. That's what we're getting back to right now. These are all the things that he has ordered. Remember, David said all things. Read on, just a couple more verses.
Verse 18, the high hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the conies. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down.
Remember, we just read that in Genesis. He appointed the moon for his seasons. Likewise, the sun knows it's going down. They both work in accordance to how God made them to work. Everything does. The beasts, the fowls, the plants, the trees. Everything is working in accordance to how God made us, but who? But the Israelite man and woman. Starting with the Israelite man. Then the Israelite woman can follow course. If the Israelite man is walking crooked, how can the woman walk straight? You see that? It's time for us to set ourselves totally in order. You have to do that within your own lives. Everything. You look around your house, something ain't in order, get it in order. Papers are spread out everywhere, whatever it is. We should always be moving. Every detail of our life, every moment, every second should be in order. When it comes down to going to work, taking the kids to school or homeschooling, whatever it is that we do, it should always have a purpose and a reason for us. That's also how we shine our light. How we are examples to the rest of the earth, because they look at us and learn how to be in order. Read on, a couple more.
Verse 20. Thou makest darkness
and it 20. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Thou makest darkness and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth.
You see that? Read.
The young lions roar after their prey and seek their meat from God. The sun ariseth, they gather themselves together and lay them down in their dens. Man goeth forth unto his work and to his labor until the evening. O Lord, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches.
It said, in wisdom have you made them all. You see, when you read in the Psalms, man even gets thrown in there, because we are supposed to move accordingly. We start our day, we start our works as the day rise, or excuse me, as the sun rise. The day starts, as the sun starts to sink and it goes into evening, we know, well, work is over. Everything is a purpose. All things are in order. This is what David was talking about. He understood that thing. All right. He understood that makes up his salvation, and he desires it too. From there, we're going to go to Sirach. Go to Sirach 43. And let's start at verse 6.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 43 and verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her seasons.
Here we go. We hear it again. We should all hear this every month. We should all be going back and reading these scriptures. We read the same scriptures to give us that refresher, to keep it in our remembrance, to understand this is the purpose. Read it again.
He made the moon also to serve in her seasons for a declaration of times and a sign of the world.
You see that? The word of Israel, a sign to us. It said he made the moon also to serve her season. It's a declaration of time. Read on.
From the moon is the sign of feasts.
That's how we get our feast, right? That's how we know what season we're in. Read.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
And mind you, everything always comes back down to perfection. Now, you telling me God didn't make us perfect? He didn't make us to be moving in perfection? Oh, yes, he did that. So we should show that. It's time for us to move in perfection, well ordered. You always hear the leadership speak of a well-oiled machine. That's how we are to move, to be well ordered. Men, when we go out and we march and we teach and we move, we're all in the same step, well ordered. Right? Yeah, it takes discipline. But first, I want us to make sure that we understand this. These are all things that I be meditating on, especially coming to serve the new moon. You know, we got Passover, unleavened bread. You know, that shows us our escape, right? We celebrate that thing. Feast of Tabernacles. It's a harvest, right? This new moon it's very significant to God's order and how he ordered things aright. In its perfection, that's what it just said. The light decreases from the moon in perfection. Read on.
Verse 8. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above.
So not only is it a sign and a declaration of times, the month is called after her name. So we understand new moon, new month. But not only that, it said what?
Being an instrument of the armies above.
Being an instrument of the armies above. It has a purpose, a reason. Read on.
Shining in the firmament of heaven, the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. At the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order.
You see that? The elements understand they have a place and they need to be in order. It says they will stand in their order, or specifically talking about the moon. Read.
And never faint in their watches.
You see that? That's how we need to be, and never faint. Israel, let's stand in our order and never faint. That's what we have to build to. That's where we got to get to. That's the point. We should always be paying attention to that. What am I doing? Am I staying in order right now? Because what happens? Hey, some brothers left because they didn't want to be in order. They can't handle taking a order, executing an order. You know? Sisters, you too. I was just talking to the brothers. I remember when we first got the purple garments. Sisters was like, what? We gotta, it's high. A sister took her man out of that thing. Well, he took himself over a garment, over being in order, all being in one accord. But this, King David said he desired that thing. That's all his desire. Likewise, it should be ours. We done on that? From there, go to Sirach 10. Watch this. Actually, you know what? Let's get one more. Go to that second Esdras that you like. Second Esdras chapter 5. Oh, yeah, 6, sorry.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 38. And I said, O Lord, thou spakest from the beginning of the creation, even the first day, and saidest thus, let heaven and earth be made, and thy word was a perfect work.
You see that? It said his word was a perfect work. A perfect work. Now, what was a part of that word? Drop down. Drop down.
Verse 45.
Uh-huh.
Upon the fourth day, thou commandest that the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order.
You see that? All our forefathers understood that thing. All our forefathers understood that thing. Whether they got the understanding from an angel or not, all our forefathers understood that thing. It's about that order. We have to get back to that as a people, as individuals, so that we can work together, or it won't work. And it's crazy when you think about it, because the Most High chose Israel, right? 100% of Israel. But now, 1/3 of Israel are the only ones that's going to do it. We went from 100% to 33%. We went for everyone's chosen to, no, everyone's called, but few are chosen. Because we don't want to do this thing. We got to build our spirits to this point, Israel. From there, go to Sirach. Go to Sirach 10. Things to meditate on, to understand.
This is the
being
book.
mindful of this thing. Remember, we read being mindful of God's covenant, his commands. Read that. Start at verse 1.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered.
It said the government of a prudent man is well ordered. Well, we understand, Israel, you men, he made you to be gods on the earth, right? He made us to be the judges, right? Well, think about that. If we're not ordered, I said it before, the rest of the earth is out of order. I be looking up into the sky, and the birds, I don't know where y'all live, but the birds where I live, they fly in circles. They don't even know how to fly south no more. Everything is so out of order, but guess what? We are the ones to put it back in order. We are the ones to make sure it gets set back in order. That's why in Isaiah 14, it talks about even the trees are going to rejoice. Everything is waiting on us. So that what? They could be in order as well. You see that? Read it again.
A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered.
Read verse 2.
As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein.
That's right. Same way with the Israelite man, the household. The Israelite men that are the leaders in the congregation that follow. The Israelite nation, and then everything else that's in the earth. From the trees, the flowers, the beasts, the fowls. It all depends on us. We start with our homes, right? We start with our lives, setting it back in order. Guess what? How about walking in that order all the time, every day, every second, every moment. Paying attention to that just a little more. Just a little more. You know? Right. Brother said birds need GPS now. Right, exactly. Oh, yeah, and all praises, man. I didn't even ask somebody to scribe for me. So all praises Hezekiah ben Israel for doing the scribe. I had to remember that thing. Yeah, it's all praises. But yeah, you got to understand. It depends on us, though. Right? We always have to be mindful. Guess what? I'm telling you, that's a part of us celebrating this new moon. Being grateful, being thankful, giving all praises to the Lord of what he has set forth for us. When you go through this Bible and you read, you see so much how he set things perfect. It's in its perfection. It's in order. It's a definite. Like when it says he set the foundation of the earth, that it cannot be removed forever. It's a definite thing. It's indefinite. This is how he made us. He made the man, and don't forget, and the woman like unto himself. This is how we are to roll. This is how we are to roll, how we supposed to roll. I want us to understand that, Israel. From there, from Sirach 10, that's what we just read, right? Go to Exodus 40. Now, who can remember what was going on in Exodus 40? Who can remember what was going on in Exodus 40? Remember, this is when the Most High had Moses setting up the temple, not building it. Remember, he built it, what, in Exodus 25, 26. Now he's setting it up. How do we set it up? Let's see. Let's read a little bit about that. Start at verse 4, and then we go jump. I just want to read verse 4.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 40 and verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt bring in the table and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And
first thing, it said, bring in the table and set in order the things that are to be set in order. We do every single thing in order. Likewise, in each IUIC school, when you walk in, we all have the same order. The sisters sit on one side, the brothers sit on one side, right? We have our Satirians in the fronts, you know, with your security. You deal with that. There's a protocol. This stuff, leadership just don't make it up out of the blue and we just, oh, you know what? Sounds like a good idea. Sounds like, you know, just, you know, no, it's all based on this right here. We see how our forefathers rolled. We see how the Most High had, even back what we're reading now, how Moses rolled. Say, you know what? This is how we're supposed to do it. There's a structure in everything. This is us. You can even say practicing the righteous acts. You know? So let's read on. So we got the table. Read that part again, verse 4.
Verse 4. And thou shalt bring in the table
Mm-hmm.
and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick and the light and light the lamps thereof.
All right, and now let's just jump up and let's get another part in this. Go to verse 23 now. Watch this.
Verse 23. And he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses.
So read 22 with it.
Verse 22. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord.
And it says he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord. Go to Leviticus. I laugh about this because when I was first came into the truth and we first started keeping the Sabbath, I set forth, a little, I guess you could call it a treasure hunt, whatever you want to call it, for my family, you know, my wife and my 3 boys to find everything we supposed to do for the Sabbath. And my middle son, Azaziah, he found this. And this was back what, about 8 years ago now? No, it wasn't that. About 7. Yeah, because I really got right with Israel United in Christ the end of 12, so it was like middle 12. So yeah, about 7.5 years. So this is what I was doing. This is how I had my wife. I said, you gotta do this. When we found this, funny. But let's look at that thing. Is it 25? Read that.
24.
Yeah.
24 and verse 5. And thou shalt take fine flour and bake 12 cakes thereof.
So if you don't know, this is what was told to do in the tabernacle for the Sabbaths, every Sabbath, right? Read it again. Wait, where you at again?
The book of Leviticus, chapter 24 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt take fine flour and bake 12 cakes thereof. 2/10 deals shall be in one cake.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt set them in 2 rows, 6 on a row, upon the pure table before the Lord.
So my pure table was my kitchen table. And I had my rib bacon cupcakes. We had a row of 6 cupcakes and then another row of 6 cupcakes. And don't touch. Now we didn't have no frankincense, but but check this out though. But mind you, this is the order that was set forth for in the tabernacle every Sabbath. They had to be exactly 6 cakes in a row, and there's 2 rows of them. You see that? Read on. Just finish that.
Verse 7. And thou shalt put pure frankincense upon each row, that it may be on the bread for a memorial, even an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Yeah, see that? That was for an offering made unto the Lord. You know what's so funny about that? Huh? Oh, read verse 8, actually. Yeah, thank you.
Every Sabbath he shall set it in order before the Lord continually.
And see, there you go. Every Sabbath you set this thing in order for the Lord continually. Read.
Being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant.
You see that? So I read that thing and said, we got to do this thing. So no more sacrifices though. So yeah, I don't know about that no more Israel. But check it out though. You know what's funny? I thought about this. Is what I thought about when we first read it. Me and my family. I was like, this is crazy. Christmas time, you get tricked in the gimmick. You set some cookies out, cookies and milk for Santa. The heck? I equated that. I don't know why I equated that to that. Because that's what we were doing as Israel, setting out the cupcakes every Sabbath as an offering to the Lord. It's like, man, the heathenism do anything and pervert it. Pervert that thing. I wonder if that's where they got this. Milk and cookies. Yeah, but that's crazy though. But understand, this is the order all the way down to the bread. All the way down to the bread. Okay? Everything is in order. Go back to Exodus 40 and read 23 one more time.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 40 and verse 23. And he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses.
From there, go to 1 Kings 20. 1 Kings chapter 20. And start at verse 14. Let's go there.
It's the book of 1 Kings chapter 20 and verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
And Ahab said, by whom? And he said.
So it said, Ahab said, by whom? Now, at this time, Ahab's speaking with the prophet. The prophet told him, check this out. I'm going to make sure that you are going to win this battle that's set before you. All right. Syria was coming against us at the time, coming against King Ahab and the men. And so when King Ahab heard this, he said, what? We going to win this battle? How? How this going to happen? Watch what he asked. Read just from the top again.
And Ahab said, by whom? And he said, thus saith the Lord, even by the young men of the princes of the provinces.
Okay, so that was the answer. It's like the young men, the princes of the provinces, is who's going to make this happen. What's Ahab's next question?
Then he said, who shall order the battle?
He said, well, who gonna order this thing? How we gonna pop it off to where? Because he understood that, guess what? We have to be in order. How we go take the earth if we have no order amongst us? We're not put together perfectly and doing all things in order and moving in that fashion. There's no way. Ahab understood that we can't even win a war like that. So who's going to order this thing? Read on.
And he answered, thou.
Right, he said, you are. But understand, again, this is just a quick example of our forefathers always understood that. We must come back to that order. We must, every part of our lives supposed to have that some sort of order. Again, like I said, to the point to where it's not second nature, it's first nature. It's an automatic thing. That's how it should be for Israel. That's what we want to bring ourselves back to. This is how we become, especially you men, again. What the scriptures say, go to Hebrews real quick, because we hear this a lot. We always hear this. Hebrews 3. Profession, get that. Or you can go 10, it don't matter.
Got it.
We always hear this. Read it.
Oh, got it. Okay. It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 3 and verse 1. Yeah. Wherefore, holy brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Christ Jesus.
You see that it said of our profession. Matter of fact, get the 10 too. Chapter 10.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 10 and verse 22. 23.
Yeah, just read 23. Just get the point.
Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised.
You see that? It said, let us hold fast our profession. We always read these scriptures. Profession, right? We always read these scriptures. Just like we read Hebrews 4:14, says the same thing as Hebrews 10:23, right? But think about it. So if we are supposed to be professionals, how is that going to happen? We're reading some of the things on how it's going to happen. We're gaining some understanding of we have to know that it takes the order. When we come to celebrate New Moon, it's all because of how God set the order from the foundation of the earth. Likewise, that's how we should be rolling. Together, again, together. One mind, one spirit, right? Right? All right, from there, go to 1 Chronicles. Another small example. Now, this is how the priest always roll. This is how the priest always roll. Now, this is after Solomon had, just did the temple back, had consecrated it. Read that 1 Chronicles chapter 6. We're going to read verse 32.
This is the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 32. And they ministered before the dwelling place of the tabernacle of the congregation with singing, until Solomon had built the house of the Lord in Jerusalem. And then they waited on their office according to their order.
Brothers don't want to wait on their office for nothing. Brother said, nah, man, I do this good. I'm doing this now. I could do it better than him, matter of fact. That's what Paul was talking about in Romans. Wait on your ministry, right? What the priests do. And mind you, it's funny. These are the things that they were setting up in the congregation, in the tabernacle. And these things are set forth for, guess what? Feast days. When they gather together as a body. And the priests, it said, what the priests do? It said they waited on their office according to their order. This is what the priests did back then. Likewise, this is how we should roll right now. Brothers say no. I go do my own thing. I ain't waiting on none of that. And then we see where he gets them.
You know, it's funny because the Most High always had Moses set order in the congregation of Israel.
That's right.
But then when the bishops and deacons hand down orders, you get brothers that get butthurt, getting their feelings.
Right.
And then now they walk away talking about, I ain't going to let a man run me.
Right.
But it was always order. It was always set up to be like that.
Guess what? Likewise did Korah and Dothan. Moses, who made you somebody to tell me? Them number 16 brothers. Hey, look, from there. So understand, always had order. Always, always, always. All right? We have to let that thing sink into our spirits. We have to understand that this is what it is about. For us, for Israel, mind you, for the nation of Israel, men and women, which therefore our children will be that way. All right? From there, go to Baruch chapter 6. We always read this one on new moons as well.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 6 and verse 60. For sun, moon, and stars, being bright and sent to do their offices, are obedient.
Same way like the priests, right? Said sent to do their office, but guess what? And they are obedient. Israel, the elements. It's all the same. It's how God made it. It's how God made it. It's how God made it. This is how he set us to be. We are to always have this in mind. We are to always have this in mind. All right? I wasn't going to do too long of a class, Israel. I want to keep this one real short and simple. For the new moon, I got one last scripture. Go to 2 Corinthians 13.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth.
Wait a minute. It says we could do nothing against it, but for it. And what are we talking about? The truth. You know what's funny about that? Think about it. There's nothing anyone can do against this truth. You're not going to stop what's going on. You're not going to stop what's going on with the Lord. You're not going to stop his movement. It's not going to happen. There's nothing you can do against this truth but for it. Guess what? Even when you're doing wicked, you're doing evil, that's for this truth. It's going to prove that the Bible is the truth. The Bible is a real book. You being wicked and evil does what? Say, hey, that prophecy is true. Dang, I'm reading this Bible and it said we will have people doing this and that. Dang, now I'm seeing it. Dang, the Bible is a true book. There's nothing you could do against this truth. Only for it. Read on.
Verse 9. For we are glad when we are weak and ye are strong. And this also we wish, even your perfection.
You see that? These are the apostles talking. This is Paul speaking to the people, saying we also wish that you be perfect. We wish for you in your perfection. Let's move in perfection. We've always spoke to our brethren in this fashion. Let's move in perfection. Read on.
Verse 10. Therefore I write these things being absent, lest being present I should use sharpness according to the power which the Lord hath given me.
Hey, Paul said, I'll be getting on your behinds. If I was present, I'll use sharpness. I'll be on you about it. I'll be on you. I'm writing this letter because I'm not there, but if I was present, if we was face to face, you'd probably be calling me mean and rude. But look, he said I'll be using sharpness according to the power God gave me, but for what? Read that.
I should use sharpness according to the power which the Lord has given me to edification and not to destruction.
But it's not to try to destroy you. It's to edify you. It's for your benefit. I'll get on you. I'll get on y'all about being perfect and about doing things in order and being right. But it's not to tear you all the way down and destroy you. It's to build you. It's to edify you. That's what it's about. We have to be mindful always in this fashion, especially when you got your elder brothers, elder sisters, even for you sisters, trying to show you things and guide you in a way. We can't take things as, oh, they just trying to, no. It's to build. That's what we need the order and the structure for. It's to bring back a nation. Then we can be sovereign. Once we become a power, you got the brothers running around talking about, I don't got to pay my taxes, I'm sovereign. Nah. Not till we get this right. Not till we could come back to this in our perfection. Read that part again.
Lest being present, I should use.
Read 10 all over.
Oh, I started at 10, my bad. Verse 10. Therefore, I write these things being absent, lest being present, I should use sharpness, according to the power which the Lord hath given me to edification and not to destruction.
Right. For edification and not destruction. Read on.
Finally, brethren, farewell. Be perfect.
Be perfect.
Be of good comfort.
Be of good comfort.
Be of one mind.
One mind.
Live in peace. And the God of love and peace shall be with you.
You see that? Live in peace, and the God of love and peace shall be with you. Live in this peace. Read on.
Greet one another with an holy kiss. All the saints salute you. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of the God and the communion of the Holy Ghost be with you all. Amen.
Hey, all praises to the Most High. You know, I was going to get one last thing. I'm going to leave it there. All praises, like I said, Israel wanted to make a quick class for this morning. Let me go get this security up out of here. These brothers did all nighter. All praises to the Most High. Dedicated men. All praises to the Most High. Happy new moon, family. Happy new moon. And we're going to get it in some more. I don't know about y'all, but if y'all can, you know, this is what we do over here in IUIC Seattle. We're going to get some brunch in. Well, of course, for the ones that don't have to go off to captivity. We're going to keep it going because it's the new moon all day, ain't it? All day long.
Sundown to sundown.
All day long. Started last night. And we're going to keep it going. So all praises to the Most High. I know, right? Got to get a little nap. But all praises, Israel. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless you all.